Hi everyone, this is Paul here for the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing an astrology report for the new moon in Pisces, which takes place on Wednesday the 6th of March at 4:03 PM Universal Time. I'll be outlining some of the key aspects taking place to it and the overall themes that it highlights to us, and I'll be giving an overview of what it all means. But before I do that, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that the astrology doesn't control our lives. It gives us a framework to help us understand what's unfolding around us. It helps us to recognise what the opportunities for growth at this time, and what key qualities can we be looking to cultivate, and what key lessons are there for us to be learning. But for anything to actually change, or for anything to happen in our own lives, it requires that we take responsibility for engaging in the process, that we participate in the process, and we take responsibility for our thoughts, our words and our actions, and we seek to do our best to take action in alignment with the natural flow. So it's learning to go with the divine flow rather than trying to make things happen in our own timing to the point we're fighting against the current. But for anything to change, it requires that we do take the action, and we also take responsibility for it and make sure it's guided by wisdom, not just blind impulse, so that what we're doing will ideally empower ourselves, but also empower other people, will not lead to unforeseen consequences that could potentially harm ourselves or others. Now, this particular new moon is the last one of the current astrological cycle, so in Pisces it's about setting intentions around areas like spiritual practice, letting go of the old, i.e. letting go of attachments, cultivating unconditional love and compassion in our lives, and it's learning the art of surrendering to a higher power and learning to go with the divine flow rather than trying to make things happen the way we want things to go. Because at the end of the day, do we really know what's the best course of action for ourselves? We think we do, but more often than not, there's actually a better way to achieve our goals than we realise, and it's learning the art of surrender that we can and letting go of the need to control how things happen, and instead allow these steps that will take us to our goal to be shown to us through taking an action and seeing what unfolds from it, and then based on that taking the next step along towards the journey. But it's about surrendering to the journey and embracing the journey rather than obsessing over the goals. Pisces is also about illusions, so this is also a time of an opportunity to see what illusions do we need to let go of, and where do we have attitudes from the lower end of Pisces around a defeatist attitude, where do we have a habit of procrastinating out of fear of change, where do we engage in escapism tendencies, whether it be through negative ones like drinking, like drugs, excessive smoking or excessive eating, but also through where do we tend to engage escapism through seemingly noble pursuits like exercise and engaging in work, but doing it as a means to avoiding dealing with the key issues at hand. So obviously it's important that we have a hard-working that hard-working ethic in order to achieve anything, but when work becomes a form of escapism, then we need to reevaluate it. Same way with exercise. Exercise is important to maintain our bodies, to maintain our health, but taken to the extreme, it can also be used as a way to avoid dealing with what we know we need to be dealing with. So this is a time where if we can let go of illusions. Pisces is also about spiritual healing. This comes about through letting go of attachments, of letting go of the need to control everything, and letting go of the fears that drive addictive tendencies, and instead embrace unconditional love, embrace compassion for ourselves, and seek to incorporate these into our daily lives. So it's important we have some kind of spiritual practice that gives us time for ourselves, so we can check in with ourselves and see how are we really feeling, what is actually going on within ourselves, and seek to address it. So, but as always, this is just an opportunity to set these intentions. These are the sort of things we can work on every single day. It doesn't just happen at the new moon. but these are the kind of things that we're being encouraged to look at and deal with in our lives at this time, based on the new moon. In terms of aspects to it, the ruler of the new moon is Neptune, and it's conjunct the new moon. So this is a very powerful new moon as a result. So the Neptunian energy is very powerful, and the opportunity to surrender our attachments, to dissolve old attachments and old structures in our lives, to make space and to allow space to emerge in our lives for new beginnings later on. But it's also a time where, if we're not careful, we can also be taken in by illusions. So it's having that honest desire for the truth, and it's also seeking to embody Neptunian energy at its highest levels, which is that unconditional love, that open-heartedness, and not resisting, that complete lack of resistance to the world around us. It's instead, because whatever resists persists, it's instead letting go of everything that isn't who we are, letting go of the attachments, letting go of the need to be right, letting go of any judgmental tendencies, and it's embrace loving acceptance for ourselves first of all, because if we can't love and accept ourselves, we can't offer unconditional love and acceptance to other people. Obviously the same applies to compassion. So this is a powerful time for us to heal ourselves through letting go of judgment, letting go of attachments, letting go of any negative emotions or fears that drive compulsive behaviours, and instead surrender those fears, surrender the need to control, and allow unconditional love to be our guidance, and compassion to be the way we engage with other people. This doesn't mean that we don't have boundaries with people, because some people will have lived a life where they're used to using people or trying to manipulate. So it's important that we seek to see things as they are and let go of comforting illusions, and also maintaining boundaries in the process. We have a sextile to Saturn during this particular new moon, which helps with this, because Saturn is about maintaining boundaries, it's about taking personal responsibility, and it's having that patience and discipline with ourselves and with other people. We also have a weaker sextile to Pluto, so this is about that recognising our any secret power drives we may have, or any place where our the course of action we take or the way we try to empower ourselves is driven by shadow desires rather than a desire for love and unity, as it were, and a desire to achieve maximum personal integrity through aligning our words, our thoughts, our words and our actions. We also still have a sextile to Mars in Taurus, so this gives us an opportunity to use our actions and desires as an outlet for all this intense Piscean energy. But obviously it needs to be through action and desires that are tamed to devotion to a spiritual goal, as it were, or a goal that is guided by spiritual awareness or guided by the spiritual laws. And it's making sure that we have that energy of devotion rather than just blind egoic desire. So, and another one that I've almost forgotten is we have Vesta in Pisces, also conjuncts the new moon. So Vesta gives us an opportunity to develop a greater degree of self-integration. So it's Pisces is a very malleable energy, it's always changing. So with Vesta, it brings us an opportunity to work on using service as an antidote to illusion or confusion, and it's also integrating the different strands of the self that Pisces shows to us, and collating it into a cohesive sense of self rather than one that's very malleable and prone to manipulation or prone to illusion. So there's quite a lot going on with this particular new moon, and it's a very powerful opportunity to let go of the old, to embrace a new vision of what we want to achieve going forwards, and any vision that we look to recognise at the moment, it's important that we then hold it as our guidance for when the sun's moving into Aries later in the month, because this is tying up of loose ends. This is facing whatever is in the psychic basement that doesn't belong there anymore and needs to be shed through loving surrender in order for us to move forwards without sabotaging ourselves. So if we recognise any self-sabotaging tendencies during this time, it's important that we don't judge it, we acknowledge that tendency there, and then we seek to let go of it through forgiving ourselves for having engaged in the behaviour and letting go of the attachments or the desires that drive it, and allow love, compassion and surrender to be our guidepost, and obviously seeking the truth at all times so that we don't get sucked into illusions. We use this time to liberate ourselves from illusions rather than being bound by them. And through forgiveness we break connections with, we break the ties with other people that no longer have a place in our lives for whatever reason, and we forgive ourselves for the part we played in any given dynamic. So forgiveness is a key tool at this time, because through forgiveness we can let go and surrender to a higher power and allow that higher power to guide us, and allow unconditional love and compassion to be our guideposts in how we interact with people. Also obviously making sure that we also set boundaries so that we make it clear that the love and compassion that we're offering isn't there for someone to just use. It's to help the other person, but if they're not prepared to do anything to help themselves, or just going to use people, then we have that boundary in place as a form of self-love to make sure that we're not allowing that person's behaviour to go without consequence. It's having those boundaries so that love can be more readily expressed, and a healthy love that honours oneself and honours one another. So may the new moon in Pisces bring you many opportunities for new growth. May it also be an opportunity to surrender to the old in order to make space to embrace the new going forward. And may it illuminate or bring opportunities to transform our existing ways of doing things, to transform our relationship with self and others through embracing unconditional love and compassion. And it's also making sure, because Pisces is to some extent deals with sleep as well, it's about giving ourselves that time for rest and contemplation necessary to restore our batteries, to heal ourselves and make sure that we don't wear ourselves out and burn out. This enables that spiritual healing that Pisces can channel, but it requires that we have that love and acceptance in the first place through surrendering judgment and forgiving ourselves if we've done anything in the past that we judge ourselves for. It's letting go of guilt, embracing forgiveness and embracing the healing power of spiritual love. So may the new moon in Pisces bring you many new opportunities for growth, and may it bring much healing and transformation in your life. Take care and be blessed.